Again, in another Spanish La Liga feature is the fact that now, okay, Getafe will be locking horns against Real Madrid in another Madrid derby. So it's the derby in the capital of Spain, at the Alfonso Perez Stadium in Madrid, right? Just a few k's away from the Santiago Bernabeu. So Real Madrid travel to Getafe once again, right? Although, you know, as we build up to this particular encounter, there are a few talking points that I want us to discuss, with regards to this particular clash between Los Blancos traveling away to Getafe, right? So remember now that we are more than halfway, through the La Liga campaign, and, Girona sit atop of the standings with 55 points in 22 games. They average a stunning 2.5 points per game and are 1 point clear of Real Madrid at the top of the table, right? So what does that actually mean for Carlo Ancelotti's men? Because remember, they do have a game in hand, Real Madrid, for what it's worth, right? As well as the fact that, however, with the game in hand, it's not the same as 3 points in hand, right? So you need all 3 points, regardless of the fact that you still have a game in hand. And remember, it is clear that the league race is far from over. It's far from clear at this particular point of the season. You just cannot underestimate anybody, particularly Girona, as they are the surprise, contenders this season, right? They've had a brilliant season so far, did Girona, right? And despite having enjoyed a stunning start to the season, Real Madrid also, on the other hand, they are still forced to, treat every game as a must-win encounter. It is a must-win encounter because the latest, now they have to travel to Getafe, right? And the men in white now, as you travel to the Coliseum Alfonso Perez Stadium, right, to take on Jose Bodala's Getafe side in what will be a fascinating clash, not just from a sporting but a tactical point of view. And it's also a derby, remember. It's a derby, right? So bragging rights are also there. Bragging rights are there to also be claimed between both Getafe as well as Real Madrid. Remember, another thing that another concern for Los Blancos this season is their defense. Yeah, defensively, there's been a lot of holes there. There's been a lot of loopholes in that defense, to say the least. Attacking wise, yes, Real Madrid are on point, right? But defensively is one thing we need to worry about. If you're a Real Madrid supporter, you need to worry about your team's defense. Real Madrid's defense hasn't been good because they have been conceding too many goals. Yes, it's often overshadowed by the fact that they've got so much attacking progress, right? As well as even in the midfield, they've got a great, solid midfield, right? That is almost like, it's difficult for any other team to actually come first best against that Real Madrid midfield. But if you look at Real Madrid's, last 3 games, it does actually present, a worrying trend to the management, that turns the spotlight towards the defense. Like I said earlier on, due to the fact that, you look at Real Madrid's Copa del Rey. Let's go back to the Copa del Rey clash, which was another Madrid derby at the Wanda Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. Los Blancos actually conceded the first goal on the night to Samuel Lino, right, in the 39th minute. They then fought an uphill battle because they eventually fell short in that particular encounter. And moving ahead, when the men in white, which I'm referring to is Los Blancos, they took to the field against Almeria, at the Santiago Bernabeu. And remember, this is a team that has never won a single game so far this season, Almeria. They're bottom of the table. They're yet to secure a single victory this season in La Liga. They again conceded first, once again, to Almeria. And this time it was Lagri Ramazani, in just the first minute of the game. And to even make matters worse for Real Madrid, they allowed Almeria to score a second goal before they even got into the score sheet themselves. Almeria had a 2-goal advantage. They were leading 2-0 at the Santiago Bernabeu. What a story that would have been. For a team that is even yet to register victory this season in La Liga, what a story that would have been. And in their most recent outing against Las Palmas, Los Blancos went behind for a third time in as many games. They conceded the first goal, and this time it was guess to who? Javier Munoz in the 53rd minute of the game, and they once again chased the deficit. Yes, luckily in the previous 2 La Liga games, they showed character to actually get back into the game. But defensively, hey man, there's a lot of question marks because For a team that has just conceded, 14 goals in 21 appearances so far, Real Madrid have been shambolic in defense, in recent outings. And I think David Alaba's injury has had a clear impact, on the strength of the fortress. And the numbers say the same. Remember, numbers don't lie. Because, wow, it's been a disaster for Real Madrid at the back. It's been a disaster. And as well as, remember, Militao is also injured. Ade Militao is also out injured, the Brazilian. And, now, when you look at Madrid now, they've conceded a staggering 12 goals in their last 6 games across all competitions, averaging 2 goals conceded per game. Needless to say, there is a lot for the manager for Carlo Ancelotti to actually fix in defense. And, if he doesn't do that, the team could live up to regret, a costly result in the coming games, right? So, it's a concern. It's a serious concern, because if Real Madrid are to keep up with their title challenge, their title credentials for the La Liga title this season, and actually prevent another disaster, to the surprise packages, Girona, they're going to have to really dig deep and fix their defensive holes once again. Because I've even seen in the previous clashes, they've even had to resort to the fact that Aurelien Tchouameni, who's a midfielder, naturally had to play in centre-back, alongside former partnership, alongside German, strongman, Antonio Rudiger. So another talking point that we also have to discuss, which is very important, is the fact that you have to look at Luka Modric. I think he needs more minutes from a Real Madrid perspective, because experience is actually needed, right? But what Ancelotti said, he did also say the fact that Modric is a legend. And he knows it. So he's also obliged to give the much hyped Turkish midfielder Arda Güler some much needed minutes. And remember, the Italian tactician, only echoed his thoughts from what he said a few nights ago, in the team's post-match conference, and one can only laud the manager's honesty and managing prowess, throughout the same, right? Yet, in fact, the fact that, Modric, has been underutilized this season, more so in recent games. The Croatian has not played a single minute in either of Real Madrid's last 2 games. And it is clear that the manager is looking, to gradually reduce the team's dependence on his magic. Again, it is also well established by now that Modric's current season is likely to be, his last season at the Santiago Bernabeu. And to actually keep the player out of action for 3 successive games would be stretching it. Needless to say that the manager could well give, the veteran a start against Getafe, as he did in the Copa del Rey clash against Atletico Madrid. Because, playing at the Coliseum Alfonso Perez, Real Madrid can really do, with Modric magic, as well as his experience as one of Spain's most daunting stadiums. Remember, it's not easy to travel to Getafe. Getafe are a good side. Remember, they languish in 10th position in the La Liga table so far. And remember, Manchester United, the former Manchester United winger Mason Greenwood has been spectacular for Getafe this season. He's been on point, with even the fact that Barcelona are also amongst the teams that are racing to actually get his signature. And moreover, they will require Modric's genius once again to actually break through Getafe's tight defensive lines under Jose Bordalas, right? And like I said, man, Real Madrid, they need to fix their defensive holes. In order for them to actually get maximum points at the Coliseum Alfonso Perez, they really need to fix their defensive holes, because Getafe are also, dangerous. They are also dangerous on attack, because remember, former Madrid star Boya Moyaral is Getafe's top goal scorer so far. Even they've got Mason Greenwood, they've got Jamie Mata. So that's a great attacking threat for Getafe, the home side. And another thing is that Real Madrid's 4-game run, is to be decisive this 4-game run in the title will be a decisive one. In the league title race, because Real Madrid, remember, they may have won the first of their 4, right, against Las Palmas, but it is also clear that the worst is yet to come. You understand? Because they still really need to play tough teams. They still need to travel away they still need to play Barcelona in another El Clasico at the Santiago Bernabeu. But, having overcome, Garcia Pilimenta's men, it imbibed in possession-based football, they now have to face the exact opposition in Getafe. And Jose Bordalas is well known for his anti-football and is sometimes called and presents as a test for different skill sets compared to his opposite number, Carlo Ancelotti. Apart from pure weight of the result in terms of points, however, there is, an added element at stake for the visitors, on the night, right? So Real Madrid's next two clashes, after tonight's game against Getafe, are against Atletico Madrid as well as Girona. Oof. You heard that. But luckily they will be at the Santiago. They will be playing both of these clashes at the Santiago Bernabeu. And remember, they are yet to actually be defeated at the Santiago Bernabeu. But you can never underestimate any team. This is Atletico Madrid and Girona. You understand? And given that the fact that these two sides are La Liga's third and first, place teams respectively, Real Madrid will require every ounce of luck that they can produce. You understand? And a win for them at Getafe will actually give them a whole lot of confidence heading into these two absolutely critical games. So the more dominating they are, the more dominant Real Madrid are, the better for them in terms of, securing the La Liga title once again.